Hello. So I am Eric. I'm going to show you guys how to make some good down-home southern collard greens. Now the key to the collard greens, one is the flavoring. You want to make sure you get enough seasoning in there that you can actually season the greens. And two, you want to also make sure that you get a good size of greens in there as well. So what I've done, I went ahead and I started it off. And as you see right here, we have our 5 pounds of collard greens. With that, what we're going to do is we're going to take the collard greens, we're going to take them over here, and in here we're going to actually clean them, wash them. Notice I've cleaned up my sinks so that I can clean them this way, wash them, put them over here, clean them off again, put them back. I was told by my mother that you want to make sure you have good collard greens, because what you do not want to do is to serve anybody a gritty collard green. A gritty collard green still has the dirt on it. Okay? So let me show you this. Also, you want to make sure you get a good sized pot. In your pot, what I've done is I've added about 3 pounds of ham hock and some seasoning. The seasoning that I'm using is good old crushed red pepper, salt, pepper, and something I picked up in Jamaica, some all-purpose island spice. The all-purpose island spice is going to give it a certain little bite to it, little flavor. What I've done with my ham hocks, I've put them on. I'm going to set them and let them cook for about 2 hours. Now you can also use turkey necks, but I'm going to use ham hocks. Okay, so put my ham hocks on, let them cook for 2 hours, and I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to wash my greens off. Okay, so I'm over here at the sink, and what I want to do is I want to open up my greens. Open up my greens, the container. What I want to do is I want to cut the stems off. You don't want your greens to be too stemmy, because then it's not a good taste. I want to taste the greens, which is the leaves. I don't want to just be eating stems. So what I'm going to do with this is, here's the stem that I was talking about. We want to cut this out. How I do it is I bring it here, I cut the back. Okay. Then also make a slit right across the stem, the way you can pull it off. Okay. And you'll look like this. Okay. Like a mask. All right. So I'm going to do the rest of these greens, and I'll come right back. Okay. So I got my greens cut. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to wash the greens off. Alright, so I'm going to turn the water on. Not too hot because I don't want it to splash. I'm just going to wash the greens. I'm going to gently, well not gently, but it's definitely going to massage the water in the greens. Okay. And as I wash them, I'm going to move to the other side. What this does is it gets rid of the grit. And of course, again, that grit, you want to get rid of that altogether. Because you can't cook dirt. Okay, so I've washed off one set of greens. I'm going to clean my area right here. Put the stopper back in. And now I'm going to move to the other side and do the same thing again. You want to do this at least 3 times. Yes, at least 3 times. Why? I don't know. My mother told me to do it at least 3 times, and it worked for her, so that's what we're going to do. Okay, so I washed my greens off, and so far so good. I ended up throwing my stems in the trash. My ham hocks have been cooking for the past 40 minutes. I'm going to let them cook for another maybe 20 minutes or so. Then I'm going to put the greens in, show you guys what the greens look like. Here are the greens right here. And yes, remember that we washed them to get that grit off. So we went from this side of the sink to the other side of the sink, back and forth about 3 times. And I had my helper here with me. Here's my helper here. Say hey, Ginger. All right. Okay, so I have my helper here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let the ham hocks cook for another 20 minutes or so. And then I'm going to throw my greens in, and trust me, it looks like a lot now, and it is, trust me. When I was cutting the stems off, like, good gracious, how much greens did I get? But when it cooks down, it's going to be flavorful, and it won't look like this much. Promise you. All right? Okay, so we're back. And as you can see from my pot here, my stuff is nice and ready to go. Of course, you can't see the steam there, but this is how it's going to look. Okay? Perfect. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put that back there. I'm going to set you guys here. And I'm going to take the pot, bring it over. Don't worry, hold tight. Okay. Bring you guys back over here so now you can see where I'm at. So what I'm doing is, take the top off. My helper, she was like, he must want me to work, so let me get out of here. All right, so I'm gonna take my greens now, and all those greens, I'm gonna put them in the pot. Okay. Don't worry, like I said, it will make room for that. There we go. Put them all in the pot. Muscle them in a little bit. Okay. They're right there. Perfect. Got them all in. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pot back over to the stove. Put you guys there. Get you back over here to the stove. And when I'm back at the stove, I'm going to set it here. One more ingredient. Don't forget this. So you want to add some good old sugar. Okay. Sugar is going to cut the bitterness of the green. Set that there. Get my top. And let it cook. It's going to cook that way for maybe another hour, hour and a half, and we're going to have collard greens. Okay? Why? Because when I cut it up, I don't want to be cutting up just bone. Okay? And much of that fat that I can get off the ham hock as well, I'm going to cut that or take that out. Because you don't want to just be eating on the fat either. Now, if there's any meat up there, of course, you want to save that as much as you possibly can. Okay, so I'm digging around to find all the bones that I had. And again, if there's any meat, leave that there. That's going to be some good going on in there as well. All right, I think I have one more. Here it is right here. Pull that out. Okay, make sure I get everything out. Okay. Okay, see what we got. See if I got any more bones in there. Here's one right here. Got to search through it like an Easter egg hunt. Here's one. Okay. So now what I'm going to do. Okay. So we have been making greens now for actually about 3 hours and 30-something minutes. Close to it. Again, we had to let our ham hocks cook a little bit, get a good season going on, get the water ready. Now let's see what we got. So as you see, I got a smaller pot here. You can never have greens unless you have a good green cutter. Gonna cut the greens. Why? Because you don't want a whole lot of leaf. You know, when you stick your fork into it and pull it out, you don't want to pull out the whole leaf. You just want to pull out just a little bit of collard greens. Okay, let's see what we got. So turn my stove off. Turn that off. Okay. All right. Let this steam go that way. And if you remember, we started off with goop gobs of greens. Now look at how much we have. Half a pot. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I am going to... That light's in the way. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the ham hock out. Okay. I'm going to set it here on the plate. Why? Because when I cut it up, I don't want to be cutting up just. Then I'm going to place it in a smaller pot. And then I come across any more bones. You got to take those out also. So what I'm going to also do is, as I'm taking them out, I'm also going to be starting my cut with my collard cutter. I'll set this here. Okay. And just keep cutting as it goes through. Flip it over and cut. All right, so that's our first batch. Now what I'm gonna do, gotta taste it. That's good stuff. That's your collard greens. All right.